Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want to talk a little bit about a technique that I have learned many years ago that successfully helped me cut emotional ties to people from my past. And we can create all kinds of emotional ties to people that we no longer should be attached to, especially if it's ex-girlfriend or ex-husband or whatever. There could be all kinds of trauma surrounding people, anger surrounding people, people that you haven't forgiven. So this is kind of it's a really good way to forgive people, to let them go. And that's the key, is to letting them go, because there's people in your past that you no longer need to be renting space to in your head. This has been a big problem for me. So it's called the Blue Room technique, and it's just a creative visualization. So you can just, it's just a practice that you can do sitting anywhere, preferably not while you're driving, but anywhere. You could be in an elevator, you could be sitting on your couch, anywhere, and just take a little bit and visualize. I'm really good at visualization, creating images in my head, thinking about shit like that. So that's why this worked for me. So the Blue Room technique is basically this, and I hope I do justice to it. I'm not reading from a handout. I do have a handout that was written for me step by step, and I should have been more prepared for this video, but I'm just gonna free ball it, and see how it goes. So what it is you visualize that you are standing in a room. Say it's an empty room. Small, it doesn't have to be a large room, or it could be a medium-sized room, it could be an apartment, it could be a house, doesn't matter. You're standing in a room, say you're standing in your living room, and there's no furniture, it's just an empty room, and the whole room is illuminated by a blue light. So imagine you got like a real bright blue light, or a black light that shines bright blue, but a blue light that just fills the room full of blue light. You got that in the thing, in the lamp above, and that's really all you see. You're in this room full of blue light. Now you imagine the person that you have an emotional connection to that you wish to sever. You wish to let them go. They no longer serve any purpose in your life. You no longer need that relationship, but you're not wishing to do it with anger. You'd like to release that and sever those ties and release that connection and just release it with love and be done with it. And forgiveness is the way to do that. So the next step is you're standing in the room full of blue light. It's blue all around you. You're standing in this empty room. And there's a door opposite you. You're standing there facing the door in the middle of the room. And the door opens. And in comes that, whoever it is for you. So for me, when I did this technique, one time I was thinking about my ex, a girl I was engaged to. And we had a very, very horrible breakup. I could go all into the trauma. You'd be like, God damn. So it was one of those types of stories, all kinds of drama, soap opera drama. And I was just left really hurt by the whole thing, and still really attached to her in a way, but not the reality of who she was, but this fantasy of what our life could have been. And I needed to get rid of it in order for me to move on. So I imagined her walking in the room, and I'm standing there in the middle of this blue room, and here she comes walking in. And the door opens, and she comes walking in. She stands across from me, a few feet away from me, safe distance, but not in your little bubble. Arm's length is usually what we consider our personal space. And she stands there right across from me looking at me. So you can imagine this with whoever. And you can pick people, I'm sure, whoever you have in your life. It doesn't have to be your ex-girlfriend. It could be anybody that you have that you want to sever an emotional connection with. And we all have people like that are still renting space. It could be an old enemy. It could be all kinds of people. You get it, right? So the next step is, I imagine in my creative visualization, as we're both standing there in this blue lit room, this empty room, and the door is closed. She doesn't leave the door open. She closes the door. We're both in there together. And I look down, and imagine two people standing across from each other. And I look down and I notice and you visualize this, that there are cords, like imagine extension cords or ropes that are connecting, coming out of my body, say out of my heart, and going into her heart, coming out of my stomach, going into her stomach, out of my brain, coming out of me. These are the emotional connections. So that's why you want to imagine them. Sometimes if it's somebody that has a real strong past with you, those connections may be real strong, those cords may be real thick. So you're physically connected to each other. And then you're going to imagine that you have a very sharp pair of scissors in your hand. And you're going to go and you're going to cut each cord. And as you cut each cord, your end retracts into you and their end retracts into them. And your end gets sealed with light. So each time a rope or the cord retracts into you from you've cut it, I hope you're following me with this visualization, a little bit of light kind of codifies that wound, and it's sealed, it's healed. And you may have 2, 3 cords, there may be 100, and cut them all. And then you tell the other person, thank you for everything that you've taught me, but I no longer need you in my life. I allow you to go. And they go. They turn around. So in my visualization with that chick that I was talking about, my ex-fiance, she turns around, she says thank you, whatever, and you can imagine a conversation if you want. I don't. I just imagine her not saying anything, just smiling and turning around and leaving and shutting the door behind her. Now, if there's any connection still remaining, any cord still remaining, you cut them again, and you imagine that light healing it up again, and then you say that again, you go through it again and say, thank you for everything you've taught me, but I allow you to go. I no longer need you anymore. There may be some cords as she leaves, for whoever it is for you, but for me, as she left the room, shuts the door behind her, I noticed in my visualization, and I didn't try to visualize it, it just happened, there was cords coming under the door from her, like she was still trying to get at me. And I put in the visualization, at that point, once the person has left, you surround yourself with solid white light, like an aura, like a spotlight is right down on you, and you're just surrounded by it. So if any more cords that come in, like from under the door, and she's trying to get me, she wants me back, whatever, this bitch is still fucking with me, that white light, this is all in your brain, that white light sends it away. It protects you. Then you notice in the final part of the blue room visualization technique, sorry, a little brain fart, is that you imagine that white light that you are surrounded in, that beam of light that you've created around yourself as a force field, that all of a sudden grows and encompasses the entire room. The entire room is no longer blue, now it's white. The entire room is like you're on a cloud, and there's nothing but white. It's the brightest white light, and it's all coming, it's emanating from you. This is your protection. And you can do this over and over again until it helps. It's a little abstract. I hope you follow some of the visualization, the imagery that I'm talking about, and create that in your own head with whoever it is that you have an emotional connection with, and really cut those cords and imagine each cord that retracts into you, imagine it being healed up with love, and don't be angry at anything. Don't be angry at that person. This isn't a time to start the battle over again. Oh yeah, and fuck you, bitch. That you're not ending it that way. You say, thank you for teaching me what, you just thank them for the experience. Everything in life is an experience, even the bad shit. It makes us who we are. So forgive those, let them go, sever those connections. This is an easy trick to do it. It's really helped me, and I hope that you guys can find some value in it. Thanks for watching.